Yes, calling to order, time September 7th, 2022. It is approximately 5:42. Roll call.
Here we go. Jean Belmontes,
Present.
Myra Hernandez,
Present.
Lynn Nava, present. Javier Alonso,
Present.
Graciela Villarreal, Joanna Villarreal, Monica Campazos,
Present.
Christina Cuellar,
Present.
Bianca Brewster,
Present.
Priscilla Pantoja, Bradley Johnson. Okay, Joanna called in, she had a family emergency. Is there a motion to excuse her or otherwise?
I motion to excuse her. Second.
Okay.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you, Jean. Okay, that was the only one that called in, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the others are marked as absent.
Yes.
Okay. So item number 3 is approval of the minutes. Has everyone read the minutes? Are there any changes, amendments, or notations?
Yes. Motion to approve minutes. There's some.
Yes, there is. In the minutes from the previous month, we made motions, and there were a few. Priscilla moved as second on some of them, and I'm not sure about others at other previous meetings. But she had not been voted in by council.
Aha.
So, do we want to do a generic clause or motion stating that she is now a member? So, do we want to go and correct all the motions, or do we want to just do one motion correcting all the motions is the question.
Ms. Executive Director,
She was a part of the board, but she had not taken her oath yet.
she hadn't taken her oath.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
if you haven't taken your oath, you're not allowed to vote in.
So I would recommend that we bring all those motions back in a future meeting, since they're not action items for today. And we'll take them all as similar to a consent agenda.
Right,
Right.
okay.
So we can make approvals then at that time. So put those on for our next meeting. And any motions that may have been made by others that may not have been on the board or have taken their oath at the same time, we might want to bring those back as a consent agenda and just as a housekeeping item, housekeeping item. Okay, so with those meeting minutes, those issues notwithstanding, are there any additional items to address with the minutes?
Okay, I think we're good.
Okay, so then do I have a motion to approve the minutes as stated with those corrections coming forward? Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Cavazos. All right. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Citizens Communications. Do we have anybody here to speak to us today? Besides Mr. Tony Asa, who's always here to join us. Always welcome.
Thank you.
Anything going on at the state level that you want to kind of...
I think the fall sweep awards are starting, so I was here a little bit earlier to make sure that, discuss with Rubio, I'll make sure that the tree planting project that's coming, that is documented and submitted as a project.
Cool. Very good. Anything else? Any changes in how Keep Texas Beautiful is approaching its... do they have a fiscal year that starts similar to the state's budget?
September 1, that we had our board of directors, board elections last month. And I think I mentioned I was elected for a second term as state president.
Congratulations, Mr. Director. Something to share about, Rudy? Make sure we put that out there.
Look forward to continuing
Thank you.
to be, identify opportunities for Keep Laredo Beautiful.
Cool, very good.
So thank you.
All right. Anyone else with citizen comments? Anybody else joining us today? Okay. anything written into us, anything that is not on the agenda that you want to bring up at this time?
So I do have Mr. Arredondo here, the attorney, but since it wasn't included in the agenda, he's just gonna help us in regards to the bylaws to make any suggestions.
Okay,
Okay?
so he'll be here for the bylaws.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he's here. Mr. Arredondo.
Yes, I see him in council from time to time.
So he was just gonna, and then on our next meeting, we'll be going over ethics.
Ethics, perfect. Okay, so then item number 5 is the discussion with possible action on the following items. The implementation of a board treasurer. Implementing a board treasurer, do we have that clarified, or can we do that? Is that something we're going to add? Okay. Well, in that case, if we could, do we have any nominations, and then we can proceed to do a nice quiet election. So any nominations for a board treasurer?
I know we had, I don't remember his name, he's a newer board member too, but he was kind of interested. Your friend.
Mr.
Cleveland.
Mr. Cleveland removed himself from the board.
Oh, he did?
Yes, he, I guess he didn't want it to be considered a conflict of interest with his new job.
So I'm glad he got a new job. Congratulations to him.
Yes, he was good, but unfortunately not Mr. Cleveland.
Mr. Cleveland, but not Mr. Cleveland. Okay.
Yes. Any other? Anybody?
You're a
Treasurer?
financial person, Ms. Brewster?
I have so many other financials.
I can't even take care of mine.
Go there.
Ms. Christina, if your background in finance is something you want to take on?
Right now, I have a little bit of other commitments, and I don't want to under-promise something.
No worries.
Yes.
Before we vote, shouldn't we create the position?
Well, I believe the position was created, is that correct? That's
Yes,
so,
it is in
so
our
now we're at this
bylaws.
point.
It's in the bylaws, okay.
now, so what we're trying to do is.
Just
Get
fill
somebody
it.
there.
Just
When is
fill
it until, I mean, can we just,
Yeah,
is there a job description?
there was a job description in the bylaws.
It is.
Do you have that,
It's an easy
Ruby?
job description.
Because in this case, you don't write any checks, not that. it's just
I
basically give us
move
the
that
report.
we vote for Monica.
There you go.
Voluntold.
I got told her, she's it.
Okay, anybody else, any other nominees? But just give us the description, because remember,
The treasurer shall provide insight on financial strategy and fundraising.
that's right, that's basically it. All the cash, everything's handled through Ruby, the executive director,
Oh, yeah, I
we
don't
already,
have money
the
on it.
quasi
Yeah,
board.
I have so many money.
Yeah, no, we forgot to add here, sponsorship, just, when we're out seeking sponsorship, that would be, fundraising sponsorship. Pretty much that's what it would entail.
Right, put together the sponsorship packages and maybe looking at sponsorship inventory, what we can offer a sponsor potentially.
For what they can sponsor us.
Yes, exactly. So, on a shirt, inventory there at an event, typically sponsor boards, and if you're doing some type of golf tournament, you lay out all the potential inventory, and then we set a budget according to our treasurer, and then we go out and try to get it.
I move that we accept Monica by acclamation.
I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I second that.
I have a motion and a second to accept Monica Cavazos as treasurer by acclamation. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have a treasurer.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the job. Okay, so now we want to create a finance committee. Now, if I recall correctly from our last meeting, the idea of a finance committee is basically that role to create budgets, whenever we do events, an annual budget to help Ruby with what we can do potentially. Again, the city provides us a lot of our funding direction, but we also need to be able to contribute by finding sponsorships, having events, and kind of setting the pace for what we're going to do in terms of fundraising throughout the year. So the finance committee, I think, that's going to be their primary task, is creating these sponsorship opportunities for the community to join us and support our efforts. So Monica's going to,
She'll be one.
I think she'd be chairing that committee. I think
Yes.
that's important for us to have our treasurer chair that committee. but I would like to have some volunteers to join her in
At
that.
least 2 more that would be able to participate.
I'll be more than happy to help
I
out.
can help you.
Okay, Christina.
Now, don't stretch yourself thin, Lynn. I'm the
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know.
my life might change in October because, it's always a change month for me, so you never know.
All right, so Lynn and Christina. Ms. Brewster, is this a good spot? I mean, you know the entire planet, so we help us get sponsors, so it'd be good.
Yes, that's gonna be good. See you.
Everybody loves Bianca, that's why it's hard to tell her no.
Yeah, she's probably overwhelmed with, what is it?
Well, but they're gonna close down the place for what, like 2 years or
They're
something?
still gonna keep me active.
I know, well, we'll keep you more active.
Hey, she's got lots
She
to
likes
fix
it.
at that place.
Oh my God.
A lot. And I admire you
I hope to be in a position to
because
help you.
it's gonna be a big difference when it's
And then
done.
they postponed like 2 months. So now I'm gonna be open till December.
And then you close.
And then I close. I was hoping to close in October.
Yeah.
I think there's a suit jacket and a tie of mine there.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Where?
it's somewhere in that office. I left there sometime in 2009, I think.
Oh, it's gone by now, too.
Yeah.
You never know, there's a lost and found there, I'm sure.
I can tell you right now, it covered a plant during the Great Freeze.
Ties
It was
right
wrapped around some bush somewhere.
All right, well, that's great. So then we might want to add one more, but we'll ask that question at the next meeting, so make sure that's an item that we
Other
bring up.
people.
Yes,
So
we
we
aren't
can get
might
that more.
have 3 more members coming in, so that'll
Okay.
be good.
Our next action item is the bylaw changes regarding the procedure of the board officers, the availability of Zoom meetings, and the ban on phone call-ins during meetings. Madam Director, what do we want to do here?
Okay, so if y'all want to open up your bylaws, we make the changes on there. First, we're gonna head on over to meetings, section 3 on article 4. If y'all want to go ahead and read that over, see if y'all agree to that.
Will be at another committee. This came up with legal and the new city manager meeting. And I think they're reviewing again the Zoom meetings, and if you are in a virtual meeting, that you can vote. That's what we got from Office of General Counsel at City. So I don't know which council, but it was someone.
And let me, Mr. Adelante, can they?
Yes, yeah, I can speak to Toma on this. And Toma pretty much, it allows virtual participation. It doesn't, specify you can vote, you can't vote if you're doing virtual. So as far as the Texas Open Meetings Act is concerned, if you are participating virtually, you're fully participating. So that's what we've got so far.
But as a board, are they allowed to say, hey, you know what, if you're not here, I'm sorry, you can't vote? Or are they not?
Yes, yeah, you'll have the option to go more restrictive, but you can't, undo Toma. So,
Right.
so that would be up to you all to decide.
Okay, so it's up to you all to decide how you all feel about that. Sorry, Mr. Adelante, another thing, in regards to, they're also allowed to put in restrictions about how many meetings they're
Take a
allowed to
seat.
attend.
Take
Yes,
a seat, you're not moving.
Yeah, that's gonna take a minute. In regards to how many meetings they're able to attend virtually, is that something my board can decide as well?
Right, yeah. So again, the general rules, Toma is like your outer limit. You can get more restrictive, but you can't go beyond, you can't make it looser.
Okay.
Right, so if Toma allows virtual participation, as long as there's a physical quorum present, you can allow that. If you choose to restrict that to, you can only do this X number of times, or whatever
But the
you want,
bottom line
really.
is that we would need quorum
Need a
in
quorum,
effect,
means-
Right,
like
right.
either virtual or
For Toma,
present.
if you're going to allow virtual participation, there has to be a physical quorum present. And whoever's participating virtually, there has to be two-way audio and video.
Yes.
So those would be the requirements. Other than that, you can get more restrictive than that, but that would have to be the baseline.
And that would be based on that person's limitations, like if they only have video but no sound, or sound but no video, like,
Well, that's
You know
the
what I mean?
issue.
Yeah, we couldn't,
Like if you can't, we can't hear you, you can't vote.
Yeah, we couldn't make an exception,
No.
right.
I personally am not, I'm not for phone calls. I mean, I did it once with you guys. It was horrible. Absolutely horrible. Because you can't see the person, you can't see the expressions on people's faces, you can't read the room, basically. And that does make a difference when you're making decisions, whether we will admit that or not. But it does. So I'm not about phone calls. I think phone calls should be not done, I mean, except for exchange of information. But in terms of a meeting itself, I'm not for that. And I haven't really done virtual meetings, I'll be honest. I'm old school.
I do a lot of Zoom meetings just
It's
because we
the
had
bane
to.
of my existence. I mean, they call meetings before you had to get your things, get out of the office, go to somebody else's office, or drive across town. Now they just pop in on you and say, 30 minutes, I need to meet everybody, and so there you are. It is.
So, well, all of you that do lots of meetings, how do you feel about them? I mean, do you think they're beneficial, or?
They're definitely beneficial, convenient, and I personally get more done with those type of virtual meetings because I get done and then continue to do whatever is next versus driving back or going from building to building at times.
Right.
We even do virtual meetings within the university.
Right.
So we're not walking from building to building, and it's, again, the convenience of already being in the office. In my case, if I already have students waiting, even if I take a little bit longer, it's just disconnect and come in.
Right.
So it is conducive to efficiency and
It's up
effectiveness.
to you all. This is what I think, this is what we thought would be okay to do. Okay, you know what, we know that every once in a while something might come up and virtual meeting is okay, but I do like to see my board
As long as it doesn't
person.
become a habit,
Yeah,
that's
for
the
it to be
thing.
a habit, but it's up to you all. Honestly, it's,
But do you want board members to vote if they're not in attendance?
honestly,
That's a board
Me?
decision. Don't you think, Lynn? I mean, we
Yeah.
kind of decide whether we want to do that.
It's okay.
Again, I'm not opposed to virtual meetings, but I do think we have to have a physical quorum.
Oh, I totally
At a
agree.
business,
I totally, Jane, I'm not for virtual anything, but that's, you know, I am old now. I can say that and not be ashamed. But I can't
Played
say that,
solitaire before, that's virtual, and that was 20 years ago. I know.
I did it with cards. I never used the
The
computer.
computer.
So
So the first things
is
first.
the first question needs to make sure that it says quorum, it has to be face to face.
Right.
Yeah, quorum
The
is
physical
in,
way, but it needs to,
Right.
because it just says, as long as a quorum of 5 board members is established how, virtually or face to face? Just add
yeah,
that
in
term there.
person.
So the idea is to create a somewhat of a hybrid for it, that the basis for quorum has to be physical, but then the rest of the membership can join in virtually if they can. Now, that said, how do we handle absences? If the idea is that you can join virtually, right, which is making it more convenient for you not to be here physically, then my expectation would be, as a board member who is here present physically, is that you would at least join me virtually. And if you don't join me virtually, do I excuse that absence?
I think we should still use the same rules of like you need to.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we vote on the absence depending on what it, I mean, because, you know, a sick kid you can't get out of. I mean, that's just the way it goes.
I'll be here with
Or
the
should.
I've had plenty of meetings with sick kids in the background and
I mean, again, I know, but hey, it happens. They're gonna cry anyway, right?
they are. They are.
But I think it would be handled the same way, kind of the way that you all worded it here. And you can't exceed that limit because then it counts as an unexcused absence. I mean, that
I would like
sounds-
to go to the second question, which is board of directors who attend meetings, they assume will be able to view the meetings, but will not be able to vote. I think we should just remove the not. I think they should be able to participate and vote. Because if you attend, then what's the purpose of even attending if you have no voting opportunity?
Correct.
And then board of directors attending virtually will not count towards the quorum. That is just, I don't know if we need that because it's already established in the first one, right?
Correct. If you establish
Yeah.
the first quorum physically, then this
That-
wouldn't matter.
Yeah, and then board directors cannot attend more than 3 virtual meetings. If a board member exceeds this limit, it will count as an unexcused absent. Like the fourth, in other words, I can go 3 times virtually, and then the fourth one would be unexcused.
Unexcused.
And an excused absence.
Because.
Or just 3 equals 1. Like once you've missed 3, those 3 equal 1.
One.
So you've already missed a meeting.
The whole point of giving the virtual option was because just in case something comes up,
or whatever.
like, hey, I'm not gonna be able to make it a time, or I don't have anybody to watch my kids, like, let me do it via Zoom, but hey, I just don't feel like going, I don't feel like participating, it's not gonna work.
So once you've exceeded the 3 virtuals, then you must attend physically.
Yes, you have to attend physically.
Correct.
That's
So if
something
you're
that-
allowed 3 virtual meetings.
So, okay, the question then becomes, okay, so if you have 3 virtual attendance meetings, and then you have 3 unexcused meetings, you're thrown off the board. But that still gives you 6 months where you can just not really participate. Is that fair to the group?
Well,
I mean, that's how I look at it. I mean, I'm
you're
looking
still,
at,
well, the thing is that virtually, you're still participating. I think it's
Right.
you're not here physically, but you're still participating.
right,
We're just gonna see you through a screen versus
right.
being
But
sitting
a
next
lot
to
of
us.
people don't, I mean, physically when you're in a room and you're saying, oh yes, I'll do that, I'll do this, people are seeing that you're actually participating virtually. I don't think that you have that same kind of interaction.
You do. You see it
Where-
when they say, oh,
Well, you
you're-
see, right, but I don't think people volunteer quite as freely. I think it's easier to be a watcher and not a participator, if you know what I mean.
But you can physically be here and still not participate.
I agree, but I think it's harder because there's people around you that are kind of influencing what you do. I mean, that's the psychology of it. The psychology of a Zoom meeting isn't quite there.
I
you know.
disagree because there's new research indicating
Yeah.
that that's going to be the norm.
It's going to be the norm.
It's going to be the
Well, I
norm.
mean, at least the last 18 months it has been.
Well, let's
For us,
retract.
exactly.
I'm so sorry. Let's just retract. So it's 2 unexcused absences. You're out of the board. Is that it?
No,
Three.
it's
3
3.
unexcused.
It's 3 unexcused. You're able to attend virtual meetings, of course, as I mentioned, because you have a reason to. Because it happens, hey, you know what, I'm not able to attend a meeting, but can
So
I do it
when-
virtually? But me, myself, if I'm going to give my opinion as a person, when I'm doing a virtual meeting, I'm not paying attention half the time. Unless it's a one-on-one thing. Be honest, if it's a group, I'm like,
So if they
because
have-
somebody's there talking in person, and then you want to say something, but at the same time you're like, oh wait, like I'm gonna have to be like, oh wait, Juanito has something to say, and like it's gonna kind of backtrack, it's gonna set things a little bit behind, and I feel like it's happened before where I attend meetings virtually and there's people in person, and I want to say something, and then somebody else says something else, and we move on forward, but I didn't get to say what I wanted because the person conducting the meeting never recognized that I had something to say virtually.
What
Do you
I'm-
get me? Like-
yeah, but also what I'm going at is that there's potential for like a member to go to 9 consecutive virtual meetings.
No, you're only allowed 3, that's it.
3, that's it, and they get 1 unexcused. Let's say they throw in another 3, that's 2 unexcused
No.
absences. No,
No.
only 3 for the whole year.
You have 3 for
Okay.
the whole
calendar
fiscal year.
year.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh. So
Yeah.
maybe that's
Yeah.
a verbiage we should add
Yeah,
on
that's
there.
the verbiage.
And taking one step back and going to the line item that says a board director attending virtually will not count towards quorum. I think you need to leave that in, because if you do have 4 physically present and the 5th one gets on, that does not constitute quorum. So just-
But he
I think
said
that's
the
the-
quorum has to be in person.
Correct.
The 5
That's right.
has
So
to
just
be.
leave that in, so just that there's
Yeah.
no misunderstanding that if you're there virtually, you will not count towards a quorum. We have to have 5 physically. And I think the board of directors cannot attend more than 3 virtual meetings. I think you leave it as such. And then the regular absences that kick
Three
in.
unexcused.
The same rules apply as we did before.
So then the Zooming people are voting.
Correct.
2 people are voting. I may change 3 virtual meetings to per fiscal year.
Yeah.
Like that could be more clear.
So I want to take these sections individually so that we cover them very, very clearly and that we don't have any issues coming back to this. So are there any other changes that we are recommending for this section here? Is everybody comfortable with what we've discussed?
Do they, for example, the virtual, does it have to be in advance just so that we can prepare the system? Or
Well,
is it automatically?
they're going to have, that's one of the housekeeping items I was going to ask. You know, if we decide to go virtual, we have to have cameras, we have to have an owl or microphones, whatever else whatever equipment we're going to use to do that.
Which it is available, right?
Right.
Well, right now, through there, yeah, I need to learn how to use it.
This thing or the owl?
I guess. Right now, we're being recorded virtually. I don't know how it's connected, but I can see everybody. So I
okay.
just gotta figure it out how to
Okay.
do
Because I see
it.
the microphone up there,
Uh-huh.
the omnidirectional, you have it there.
Yeah.
And I see the camera,
You guys have
at
done it.
PTZ.
Yes, I'm sure.
So I
it's-
guess to give you at least an hour heads up or something.
Yes, I should get a heads up because like that I can be able to set it up.
Well, if I may suggest this, the city council currently produces every meeting in a hybrid format. So you have the option, they send out, every time they create a meeting, they send out the notices for the meeting, including a link for that meeting.
Okay.
So just prepare it that way, and then everyone has it. And when the meeting starts, the link is there. If you're here physically, great. If you're not, then you have your link already ready. And so just prepare every meeting as a hybrid here going forward.
Okay. I'll get rid of
The,
that.
and then the last thing is my concern for what you said in terms of housekeeping. Because my company, what we do is we facilitate a lot of these kind of meetings for clients. Largest one we've done so far has been 200 plus people with breakout rooms, and I mean, it's a nightmare. Could be. So we'll have 4 or 5 facilitators from our company shadowing the people who are putting on the conference, the guest speakers or the coordinators and organizers. If we're going to do this, then somebody needs to be the facilitator so that they can see the virtual hands come up when people are waiting, say that they want to talk. Or if a chat is established on the side, that we're able to monitor that chat so that people can, interject those items back into the meeting. A big tendency in those meetings to have sidebar, so people start having these chats on the side, and as a facilitator, you need to be able to watch that and bring folks forward back in. So if we're gonna do that, let's just make sure we get that covered. And I agree with Myra, this is the way it's going. There are a few companies now that I do business with that don't have some type of virtual platforms, whether it's WebEx, GoToMyMeeting, Zoom, Skype, Teams, they're all out there. And we deal with all of them, so for us, it's nuts, it's just crazy.
Almost our meetings now are virtual, that's through Teams, internally, everything.
Oh, no, I know, I'm not.
And we're-
I'm happy I'm not doing it. You just don't know. I'm so happy I'm not doing that.
And
On the
they're-
workforce.
So everything's recorded now.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, everything's recorded. Everything's recorded.
It's a great article on the alpha generation that I think all the employers should be reading.
I'm so glad my only employees are my kids. And they do what I
They're
say.
not alpha.
And they do what I say.
The generation alpha will not know anything beyond virtual. Now they won't even need to do this. They'll just say Siri, Google, or whatever, which is my son. I'll tell you.
Alexa.
Well, Alexa. I have 5 Alexas at home. 5.
5.
I have Alexa outside. That's my 6th.
We have
I have an Alexa in the office. I have Alexa on my phone. That's the generation we're dealing with in the next 5-10 years.
I have Siri on my phone and Alexa at home, and
Siri.
the minute I mention Alexa, Siri tells me, you better not be talking to that woman.
So, yeah.
It's that kind of
I'll send
competition.
you out, but it's a great article on, we need to prepare for the new workforce and the modern and innovative institutions. So that's where we're headed.
Okay, so having no other items for this, do I have a motion to accept the changes to Section 3 meetings, virtual meetings, as
Are we
amended?
gonna vote on each individual?
Yes, let's take this
Okay.
one. I just want to make sure that we cover everything, so we can have discussions like this about housekeeping items as well. So if there are no other changes or amendments to this, do I have a motion to adopt this change to the bylaws?
Motion to adopt.
I have a motion to adopt. Do I have a second?
I see.
Monica Cavazos seconds. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The next item is in Section 1, is that correct? Officers, terms, and the treasurer, we did already take that up. And then we have Section 2, which is replacement. And that section says, in the event of an officer is removed or resigns before their term ends, the board shall anonymously vote new officers for the position missing. Is everybody comfortable with that? Is there any other changes in officers? Yes. Just the description, the treasurer shall provide insight on financial strategy. Everybody comfortable with those changes?
Yes, I'm just gonna include the sponsorship on section 6. It's
Okay.
not on there. And then the change in section 1, that whoever took officer position this last meeting, we're just gonna go straight to the next fiscal year, because, it just happened.
If I may suggest, board, can we add that the treasurer shall chair the finance committee? Just make that a standing order for the treasurer. Okay. Do I have any other changes or amendments to this section? Section 1, Article 5, Section 1, officers, terms of office, and replacement of treasurer. Sections 1, 2, and 6. Any additions? Okay, any other changes? Okay, do I have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Do I have a second? Second. Okay, second. I have a motion and a second. Discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then we have an item under Article 6 for Section 2, Committee Meeting Etiquette. Board directors in any committee meeting are expected to follow basic meeting etiquette. This includes but is not limited to respecting all board directors' opinions and to avoid misinterpreting others. Phone call-ins are prohibited. This is for committee meeting etiquette. Anyone have any objections to that?
So phone calls no longer permitted for the committee meetings.
Correct.
Again, let's talk about hybrids and or Zooms for committees.
So how's that gonna work? We can do that for a regular meeting and not a meeting.
Well, no, because we had phone call-ins, not Zoom.
Oh, I see.
And we had an issue in a phone call-in, so we want to prevent that because there was just a lot of miscommunication, just people speaking over each other. That would be different if we were to do a Zoom meeting,
Oh,
then
I
it's
see.
more, you're physical, you can see, when somebody else is already speaking.
Mhm.
But we have two people on the phone talking, they're talking on top of each other, and it's also happened where the meeting would be at 11 and we have somebody coming in at 11:45 and a phone call in, and they're unaware of what was, like what had been spoken from 11 to 11:45, because those meetings are not being recorded. So, yeah, so it's just phone call-ins are not allowed. We could seek a virtual option. That would be great, because it'd probably be easier to do, since, committee meetings are a lot shorter, but call-ins are not allowed.
Okay. Understandable.
So then, committee meetings, could we add that item that committee meetings may be held virtually?
Sure. Would we do the same rules as we're doing for regular meetings?
Same rules, and again, we create the committee meeting, we create the Zoom link for it as well. And so if you decide to meet physically, then perfect.
A lot of the stuff that she does is physical. I mean, putting together things, you're loading things, it's not a virtual.
Well, and again, those
video.
meetings, if it's a strategy session, between the finance committee about what they're going to fundraise on,
Now, that's
we
different.
could do that. But if you're talking about having to go out and do something on site, then obviously you guys make those adjustments as necessary.
And maybe that should be included, that adjustments are necessary when you're not necessarily in office, because a lot of time, like, we'll be looking for trees, or we'll be at a site determining where they're gonna be planted, or where the garden's gonna go in.
Painting and all of
Yeah,
that.
I don't see having a virtual meeting while you're out there doing that stuff.
Here we are, this is.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Is the T too big or is the I too small?
No, I guess it depends on the committee. Like, for example, finance committee, that would be good. We can do that in virtually.
So-
But our committee, I mean, I need you there in person. We're gonna go to the site visit. I guess it depends.
I would suggest then, whenever you create the meeting, schedule a meeting, that you alert everybody, whether it's a physical or hybrid or a virtual meeting altogether. Now, you can have those Zoom meetings out if you're doing site visits. I have done those 100 times over with folks from Austin that are having me look at manholes with AEP. And you just lean the camera over and say, tell the engineer, can you see this? And you can do that. It's possible. It's not impossible, but it's not optimal. But I would tell you, if you need to, yeah, it's okay to have a hybrid that way. Not the best.
I don't know if you also want to include there, just for clarification purposes, that missing out on the committee meeting does not affect, like your absence or something like that.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Or, well, just to clarify, I guess.
But
I wouldn't put that in there. I would let them just wonder. Because then you're gonna have people not show up.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna say, well, it's just a committee meeting. I won't get punished for it. But I think most people know that when they say, yes, I'll help, they're committed to it. I don't think anybody thinks about an absence at that point.
Okay.
So let's let them ask if it needs if needed.
Okay.
And then that way it kind of keeps everybody from going,
On their
oh,
toes. Yeah.
that's a way out.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so then we're adding language to section 2 that says that virtual meetings are permissible. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think I'll add a section 3 and according to attendance. I just create its own.
Do you want to create its own?
Yeah.
Okay, for section 3 on committees. Okay, so then, no other changes, no other amendments? Do I have a motion to adopt as amended?
Motion to adopt.
I have a motion to adopt. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second. All those in favor? All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And I believe that is all the changes to our bylaws. Good. Okay. Next item is staff reports. These are non-action items.
Okay, good. I provided everybody a calendar for August and part of December, not December, September. I'm excited we're pretty So for August, it was a little hectic, as you can tell. There's a lot going on. We did have August 1st, we did have the recognition that some of y'all attended. We had the Jesse Gonzalez Back to School, which was an outreach event. Following McNamara site visit, Make a Difference Day planning. So we already started planning with Tommy Parks and other city departments for Make a Difference Day. And I'll show you all everything we've got going on for Make a Difference Day. At this moment, we're looking at about planting over 160 trees that day. So we're going to be doing planting, cleanup, and a mural, and a litter survey that day.
A litter survey?
Yes, it's part of one of our requirements for gold status for KTV. So I would be doing that day. How fun.
Can you educate us what a litter survey looks like?
So I did a litter survey in conference, and I guess it depends. I guess everybody does it differently. But the way they taught us is there's a sheet, so you collect a certain amount of trash, right? You say we're going to do a litter survey and 3 bags of trash. We put it on top of the tarp. From the top of the tarp, we have this sheet that says, okay, this is how much plastic was picked up, this is how much cigarette butts was picked up, and then from that, we multiply about the amount of, depending on the amount of trash we collected that day, and that's how much, let's say, cigarette butts was collected throughout the whole thing.
So
Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you're basically just extrapolating the number based on the 3
the
bags.
percentage of like
Yes.
what you
Percentage.
collected.
Okay.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah, so we'll be doing that day as well. If anybody wants to take initiative, the litter survey, let me know. Because I would be so busy. Yeah, so if you want to do it, let me know so I can put you on there and I can give you a quick educational course on it and provide you with what you need.
Ruby, would you like to have board members right now, perhaps if they're available, commit to that opportunity?
Yes, and Miss Monica will help me out. She's really good.
I date trash.
Yes, and she'll be good at it. And we also, so if you all see, I had a Recycles Day meeting. We'll be doing Recycles Day with solid waste and environmental. It's only gonna consist of the elementary schools. It's not gonna be open to the public. So we'll be working with them on that. As we all see, we had another Make a Difference Day planning. Miss Myra loves meetings. I'm just kidding. And North Central Park artist selection, mural artist selection. That's where we met with our art committee, and we decided on Mr. Alexander Baron. And I'm gonna pass that over so y'all can see. There's 3 little changes I made to his final one. So I'm gonna pass it over so y'all can see. So this is the artwork that's gonna go on North Central Park, the north facing spillway. Okay, that would be placed there. And we'll actually be signing contract with him tomorrow so he can get started. Everything's already been approved. Legal went over the contract and everything seems, I need to go over it again, but
And where the funding is coming from?
Dr. Martha's discretionary funds. Okay.
District priority funds.
Yeah. Just give me a
I'd say
second.
they're discretionary, because that's how we call it. District priority funds.
District priority funds. Okay, so.
And you made some changes to this, and the artist didn't want to hit you, or?
No, he's, you know,
He's a really bad guy.
He is. He's worked like for the ones that attended a meeting with him. Honestly, like he's great.
Really?
Like yeah.
And
Yeah,
the only reason I
he is.
ask is that, I've seen graphic designers, I can literally break down and cry when somebody says, can you change that?
My suggestion was the arrow. I don't see why he added an arrow there. I asked him if he could remove the arrow and switched over the nopal and esperanza flower. It's something we're, trying to implement now.
Yeah.
So, but honestly, so far, I haven't had any trouble with the artist. We did have 2 cleanups this past month. We had the North Central Park cleanup, went well. Believe that day I had about 80 volunteers. We were able to do mostly everything I wanted to do. We didn't get to cover a certain area on graffiti, but we did cover graffiti that day. We did cleanup, so it went really good. Same thing at Father Magnavold. We didn't cover graffiti there, but we repainted a lot of their trash cans and picnic tables, and a rail that they had there. We painted, 25 trash cans and 12 tables, I believe, that day. And we had 70 volunteers for Father Magnavold as well. It went great. So in regards to the artists, we did have several other art committee meetings, but everything's already been finalized. in regards to that, I did meet with solid waste. I took a tour of the recycling. I had never been in a recycling thing. I thought it was gonna smell a lot nicer.
No.
And no, it was not. But I got to learn. I got to see everything in preparation for the Eco Fair. If anything does, it's gonna happen at solid waste. But if anything does happen where there's any rain or anything, we'll be hosting it at Haynes Rec Center. And then I had an Arbor Day meeting. We will be helping out. So Ruth B. Cal contacted me. They're interested in beautifying the outside of their facility, and I mentioned that I wouldn't mind helping out. So as part of Arbor Day, I would be beautifying the outside of Ruth B. Cal. The only thing is I do need to seek donations for trees and plants for there. Tomorrow I'm gonna have a site visit, and we're gonna visit the site, visit the area. I already went, see what the forester suggests for there, and see what I would actually need in order to collect some donations for that.
What does the city have in its tree farm right now? Don't laugh, Lynn, that's just mean.
It's not then it's not that I don't have funds for it. I have funds for it.
I know you do, but I'm
For
just
this
curious what's in the
For this
cities.
new fiscal year, I don't know. What we had for this past fiscal year, it's gone. Because we're using it for Make a Difference Day.
Right.
So, but for the
So,
new one,
The city's tree farm, what do they currently have there?
I don't know. I'm going to speak to Mr. Navarro tomorrow and see what we can get from
And what if you have
them.
to have
And
a place?
I'm already seeking funding.
Plants?
Maybe some, this is the free skill day everything.
Who's the representative, city rep from that area? Council rep?
I reached out to Council Mercurio Martinez to see if he could help me out on this.
He's running for office. Now's the time to hit him up.
Well, let's
Just
hope he
saying.
says yes, because on upcoming events, they actually reached out to me today if I could help them with cleanup on September 17th, and as you all know, we already had our cleanup for that day. So I will not be there for our board cleanup for our adopted spot. I will be busy helping out, and maybe I'll get some points, helping them out as cleanup. So I will have environmental. Mr. Jerpina said that he will take you all out there. Ashley and Armando will be there, and you all can do our adopted spots while I'm at the event. Okay? So that just happened today. So I was trying to figure everything out, when to go see, because for our adopted spot, we're going to be doing our adopted spot, those 2 miles. And I asked permission for parking to the owner of one of these locations. Because if we're going towards, let's say, what would it be, west?
Tavernville.
Yeah, we're going to a Tavernville. On the
That's
right
it.
side, it starts like in the kind of in the middle of nowhere where we can't really park. But it ends in front of what's the name of the company? It's oil, not an oil company.
Natural gas place.
Noria people. What do you call them again?
Oil and
Yeah.
gas.
Oh yeah, okay, well then there's an oil company. So it ends in front of there, but next to it you have a pulga. So whoever's going to be doing on this side can park at the pulga. We'll have Mr. Pina in a truck following you all with lights. And then on the other side, I asked for permission to park at, I have the name of the business on here, and he said that we're able to park there so we can have another group. You guys are going to divide into 2 groups. One group will do right side, the other group will do left side. And y'all will just come down, up. And y'all can hop in the truck. They'll take you guys back to your vehicles. And then we'll have a second location, which is on 359. Well, you go down 359 and it's between where the stripes is. The name of the street is Maria Luisa, I believe. And it has a lot of debris, and it's people go out there and do a lot of illegal dumping. So I saw that there's a lot of tires, and it would be good to pick that, to pick that up as well. Yeah, the name of the street is Maria Luisa Street next to Stripes. And Stone Trucking Company gave me permission to allow us to park there. So we're covered in that area. I know some of you all had questions, but I still had to go see the dot spot myself because they literally just put up the signs like last week. Yeah, and so I was like, okay, let me go see what did they end up giving us. But I like it because it's still in front of solid waste, or like a long solid waste line, and it'll be good. We're gonna clean it up and have it all pretty. So let's talk about Recycles Day, Arbor Day, Make a Difference Day. So I talk about the 3 cleanups for next weekend, and then talk about this. Let me finish up with Make a Difference Day. So I'm gonna pass you all out. This is what the sponsorship we have going on right now for the tree sponsorship. So far we have 4 people that have already committed to the tree sponsorship, which is great. And I am missing 3 more spots on our t-shirts, and we should be good to go. But other than that, Make a Difference Day planning is going good. We have another meeting on Friday. We actually already purchased the trees, I believe.
Volunteer sign up for cleanup day.
It is posted already on social media, and I just posted it this weekend, and maybe I'm getting a little too excited, but I can see already 25 people signed up. And to me that is good, because everybody who waits for last minute.
Are you
always.
using Eventbrite? Is that what you're using?
Correct,
Yeah.
yes. Eventbrite is what we're using, so. And we haven't even really pushed it, but I think 25 at this point to me is good, honestly. Because I always seen, like, I'm waiting, and then on Friday night, I'm like, what? 76? Well, yesterday was like 9. So, yeah. That's what we've got going on. I'll let you all. But I'm going to talk about our awards ceremony. This beautiful thing right here is the sign we're going to be putting up in front of the houses. What do y'all think? Show a picture differently?
It's beautiful.
I like it.
Okay.
It's simple. I like that.
Yes? Jean?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay. So that's...
Simple, it's sturdy.
Yes.
I like it. My
And
graphic
the person's
designer
gonna
has
get-
all
the person's
all
gonna
that
get-
stuff.
Yeah?
And he's
Yes.
putting out concepts. And I didn't see it on the agenda, so I didn't bring it. So.
Okay. So it's part of our notes for today.
It's this one?
Yeah, and that's what I asked him to remove. And research these. So we have that. Then we have also, I need you all to confirm with me your attendance. Okay, please. To see if I do need to purchase more food or not for that day. But everything else in regards to...
This day.
Everything else is going well. The meeting is helping me out so much. Everything's going great. And a part of my activity report. Oh, sorry, I already jumped in. Sorry, I just go and talk about everything.
Let's talk about it.
I'm gonna talk about it. I am gonna get in contact tomorrow with Webb County Youth Village to guarantee me volunteers all the time we have an event.
And let's put a garden out there.
Okay. And in the near future,
Such a youth village.
we're doing a garden. And then NEA grants, and most of y'all are probably unfamiliar with this. So KLB was awarded a grant last year around November for miniature statues to be placed at North Central Park. Yes, this is before me, so we're extending we're gonna ask for an extension because unfortunately we haven't come to an agreement with the artist
For the statues.
for this miniature statues, yes.
Define miniature statue.
Yeah, what does it look like? How
So
many a
depend on
no?
the artist, no. Miniatures, because the thing is that we already have a statue and it's over 20 feet, maybe, right?
The Lady-
one,
The
the
Lady
Lady of the Water.
Mhm.
So we were requesting smaller ones to be placed around North Central Park. And we're looking at 5 or 6, like 5 or 6 feet. But the price that we're getting is more than what the funding that we received. And that's that we're doing, what's it called, where we can, like,
Really inexpensive material.
well, we're putting half and then
We're doing a
half.
match.
Yeah, we're doing match, there you go. We're doing a match. It's a match, but
What's the match amount?
the grant was for 20. The matchup is a little bit over 20.
20K?
Yes. And the price is over 40K
For how many?
for 3.
So you already have like
For
the
miniature-
statue in mind?
$40,000 for 3 miniature statues. Well, what did the cactus on Clark Boulevard
Yeah,
cost?
It cost $200.
Had a lot of insults.
Yes.
Hey, I prefer the parrots personally.
Can we amend that grant? Can we request any amendments?
I requested today for an extension. We've been back and forth on this because unfortunately I think the way, I believe the artist thinks that it was promised to them, but it wasn't promised to them.
I have a question. Is there a contract?
Is there a contract? No, we haven't seen a contract yet.
Legally, is there a contract?
there's
no.
Who's in there?
No, not until
And are
we
we-
agree.
But is there,
Any other binding?
in the award, is there a contract that we have with the UNEA? Or is some type of an agreement that says,
This is what we're doing.
right,
Is it just mini statues? Is it identifying
Does
the
it- does it
number? Is it
define- does it give us a-
identifying
No, it's really broad.
artist? Okay. Get a school to create your statues.
Well,
Oh, like the ironworks.
John
LCCs.
was thinking for us to go out on RFPs.
Get a
For
school to do
statues?
it. Get LCC to do it. LCC, because they have the welding department, they have the art department, bring their departments together. And then you can meld art with welding, and it's a perfect match. And then they can do all kinds of stuff.
What's the
What
purpose
if-
and the imagery of the park? And it was supposed to be at Central Park?
It's at North Central Park. It has to be at North Central Park.
So
Yes,
we're
that
still
is something
reviewing
that's
that.
on the.
Because Our Lady of the Water, or Our Lady of No Water.
How about, what if I keep
related to the
my
drought?
current art committee and I bring this up to them? Is that something maybe that would be better, like that we can focus?
Probably.
I think so.
Yeah, and let them make a recommendation.
Yeah, maybe that would be better because it's another,
So we need to hurry.
yeah, yes, because it does end in November.
So assuming
Yeah,
they say
that's
no extension, what's plan B?
Plan B is, as John suggested, that he would request we go out for RFPs because we did request for her to send us the new proposal, and what she sent over has nothing to do with what Kilby is.
Okay,
So
So-
we've been trying to work with it because it's, also with working with Araceli, because it's also part of the funding is coming from environmental, it's coming from Kilby, and it's coming from District 6. So our match, our in-kind, is coming from different departments. I think even utilities. So
right, because they have a certain amount of bond money that's set
Yes.
aside for
Correct.
public art.
yes,
Okay, so what's plan C?
Plan C.
Assuming, I mean, again, an RFP, because you have to have all these parameters to it through the procurement process. If you issued that RFP today, you probably couldn't make a selection till mid-October, because you have to publish it, right?
Because you have to publish.
And then, so assuming those folks are gonna craft something for you, you're gonna give them 45 days max, assuming you don't get an extension, right? So think of how do we spend that money by the end of November, right?
I think
Yes.
the key is gonna be how that committee, I'm part of that committee, so definitely I wanna see what that grant requirements are.
Yes.
And then what the mission of the North Central Park art.
And then you'll need to move fast in the event that you cannot get beyond that November
Yeah.
deadline.
Yeah, because we've been trying to work with her. We've been back and forth and barely last week.
Do we know who the artist is?
Yes, it's Ms. Lizzie Hinojosa, the artist of The Lady of the Water. She just sent me everything last week, and it's not what we're looking for.
In the original artwork proposals that we had for North Central Park, where the murals that were done, that particular piece was done, there was maybe two others. There were other submittals in terms of statues or wrought iron. Can you look back at those and see what those
Sure,
look like and see
look
what?
for the paperwork and see what they had proposed.
Yeah, 'cause I
Maybe it'd
think
be an easier route to take.
there were almost 12 or 14 submittals at that time.
Oh, wow.
Um,
So you were
I was
part of that?
I was part of that committee.
Okay.
And so I know some of them, I mean, the vast majority of them were some type of painted art,
Uh-huh.
but there were other sculptures and things that were submitted. And there was one that was pretty close, but they just
Okay.
it just didn't quite fit. But maybe you could talk to that person into making it fit.
Okay. I'll look into it, yes.
And of course, there's always somebody out you can always get on there and fly. Worst case scenario. I'm almost serious. I hate to lose that money.
No, I agree with you. You can fit it. It's just thinking outside the box. I mean, you can do, I mean, they even have landscape stones that you can have with art literally lasered into a giant rock.
Well, the thing is that the grant just says art.
But that's right, anything goes.
Everything is art.
Exactly, that's why I say, I mean, the guy's in San Antonio, but I know that he's done work for us before. So I would say definitely, even if it's that kind of art, because that kind of art actually has a purpose. It can tell you where you are on the trail. It can identify the area. And then that makes it easier for everybody. EMS, police, even families looking for each other when they're out at the park. But there's a lot that can be done with just stonework. Wood, iron, can all be
You're on a
utilized.
short fuse. I would certainly start looking at what potentially you could do. And you know, there's three bridges on the old section that were designed to have Vermont-style bridge houses on it.
Oh, really?
The welding plates are already on there. What you would have to do is build it
That's what.
from reclaimed wood. I mean, that's a project for somewhere down the road, but if you run out of things that you could possibly do with art,
You can never run out of things to do with art. There's so much. Oh
in
my
terms of
God.
this grant,
Yeah.
this grant.
But to get this grant in, it's gonna have to be something quick. The turnaround's very short window.
It's been my experience with any grants that, I mean, they just do not like giving extensions. They want that money spent.
Oh, yeah, they want, well, because they have their budgets too, they have to focus on.
This is gonna jeopardize your opportunity to get future grants.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Mine.
for sure.
And
Okay. All right.
lastly, I'm gonna talk about, so Evercall received the grant I sent, so they said they'll get back to me and, they're gonna meet in November and see if we get, I think, if you all remember, it was 5,000, so hoping that we get that. I did apply for another one, it's with the Women's City Club. I'm just gonna briefly show you all what, we requested. Since we are gonna end up changing our logo, I requested for 2 new canopies and 1 tent. And this is what was on the grant.
Considering that you're asking about that, can we make sure that at the next agenda item we have I think that was pending for this
Yes.
agenda item. For sure put it on the next one so that way maybe you can bring it.
We probably have like 16 concepts he's got, and
How exciting.
He's a very talented young man. If I give him a task, he'll stay on that task until I tell him to stop for a minute and go do something else.
information all the time.
It's human Adderall. I mean, he's just focused. You get him to do something, and he's just really focused, and you have to kind of yank him off the way. And he'll tell you. I mean, have you ever seen the account when he says he's not finished? He'll tell you that I'm not finished. I said, I know you're not finished. But I need you to focus on something else.
It's not a good comparison, Gene.
Well, he's that talented. I don't know how he handles guns and that kind of stuff, but I know he's that talented with artwork.
And I believe that covers it, guys. Do y'all
Okay.
have any questions for me?
Date and time for next meeting?
October
5th.
5th, great.
Okay.
That's Wednesday.
And that's our last meeting before the big event. You make a difference there? Doc was giving me grief about something, and he was just being gently poking me. He says, "Are we going to be as big as we were the last time we did that big tree planting?" And I said, "I don't know, Doc. Why?" Just because I was involved in a lot of the meetings, he said, because we were, and he was, and there was just, this room was always full with city staff and volunteers and people that were wanting to participate. And, he's decided not to run for re-election, so he wants this kind of be kind of his going away party.
Yeah.
This is his last big event before the election. And he's really looking forward to planting trees, and he says, do we need more trees? Do we need more money? What do y'all need? Nobody said. And
It's going great, believe
Yep.
me. We're having meetings every week for this.
Good.
Like honestly, it's going amazing. We have a lot of support, a lot of sponsorship, thankfully a lot of board members that are participating, and I'm so thankful for you all that have gone out in the event. AAP actually did sponsor. They are doing the blue bonnets.
Alright.
The blue bonnet.
That's a
We all
long
saw what the blue bonnet
I
was.
didn't know that.
But it's going well. And that's that we haven't even actually pushed it, actually gone out there hey, come sponsor. And people are coming
And I
to
think
us.
that's what he was looking for. I mean, I think maybe that's what, he just remembers he went to his District 6 advisory and said, if you don't bring me a sponsor, I'm gonna kill you. Okay.
I think a lot of the sponsorship happening at the last meeting, sitting around and say, yeah, run me down for this one, run me down for that
Exactly.
one.
Like, it's
hey, we're only
happening.
missing 3 and we haven't even done anything.
Yeah, it's happening on its own. I haven't even pushed it. We're gonna start pushing it where we actually went out there. Hey, do you want to sponsor? But other than that, it's slowly on its own, and I think that's going great.
Good. Volunteers is what he really wants more than anything else. He said, we had 1,200 registered volunteers the last time. You're that correct.
Oh wow.
And so he wants 1,200 or more.
Well,
I don't know
I think-
about that, Doc. I said, that's,
Yeah, I think we're splitting it with Tammy, you 600 volunteers. But no, I think it's going great. I think the reason it was so many, we also have a lot of staff. I'll be getting together with staff on Friday and seeing how, on the city part, what we're going to be doing.
I know the high schools in the past have suggested that we invite them to those types of events. They have all of their non-athletic groups show up, typically their chess clubs and their UIL clubs come, and the elementaries will go out there with their parents on a Saturday and do this stuff. So we kind of need to get that word out, because again, if you see that event from 2019, I mean, the rim is covered from one end to the other with people. I mean, and we were done in 45 minutes. And we lost a lot of the folks who had attended because we were done by 11 o'clock. All we had to do was eat.
Well, you have to have enough jobs for them to do, if you have that many volunteers.
Yeah, so we gotta have stuff
The
for them to do.
logistical part, and in some cases, is cities also providing food for, and so we're projecting a specific number, so we
Yeah.
1,000, we need to figure out where is that other
Yeah,
money
because
gonna
what are we expecting? What do we say about
be? 500 student volunteers.
500 to volunteers
Just
plus
tell me.
another
Just tell me you.
200 KOB, 700. We're not. That's what we want to, so it can be functional. We don't want to overdo it either, where we have people But there is gonna be a lot more going on that day than just tree planting, because we do have the cleanup, we do have the murals, so we're gonna be hitting a little bit of what's true beautification, like all around.
Got it.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Kelby's mission in one day.
Very cool. Okay. Just, if you need any help with that side of it, let us know. And,
Great, yes.
between Orly, Dan Ryan, Henry, Judd, Jeff, myself, and there's probably 2 others that were BB, and who else is always out there with us when we do these things? They are great at organizing groups and taking people to work and saying, this is what we're going to do. They're really good at that.
If you have our training, I can invite you all to our training as well, if y'all want to be, and like that you can do leads of groups. Monica, you're gonna have a different training, but yeah, I do need to know who's gonna help us out that day. Like that, I can divide you all into. I need who's gonna do tree planting, who's gonna do cleanup, and who's gonna help out with art as well.
Yes, send it to us. I mean, Dr. Martha's District 6 advisory, that's basically what all those folks are.
Okay,
And
great.
they'll go.
Okay.
They'll support it.
So,
Need a motion to adjourn?
We do?
Yes.
Do you all want to leave already? All right, items for next meeting, that is item number 7. Do we have any items for next week?
Is the logo?
The logo? And Ruby, will you put the website on there? I looked at it today and it looks like somebody's been working on it. You guys have been, you and Bella, or somebody's been talking to Bella, because it looked more complete today than it had in some time.
That's good.
So there was even a podcast on there.
no, that was Blasita.
Yeah, well, those pages weren't on there before, so the page is now up and her podcasts are there.
Great.
So,
Okay, yeah, I need to sit down and do that too. I'm gonna teach you this.
and again, we're donating that to you guys, so just, go to town. Whatever you want to have on there, it's a good place to do it.
Yeah, I think I want to create some links for certain forms there, but we'll get together. So October 5th, 5:30? Yes.
Make sure to bring the housekeeping items back on those votes. And don't forget to set it up as a hybrid. That's it. No other items? Anybody else? Are we short any board members? Do we need to continue to?
I actually have 3 new applications. One already got approved. I need approval for 2 more.
Okay.
One will be Miss Diane, that's sitting back there.
Hi, Diane.
She's been volunteering and helping kill bees, so that's already a good start.
Very cool.
Yes.
Very good. Okay. Anything else? Do I have a motion to adjourn? Second? Second. All right. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.